Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori Brame. I'm glad you're here. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, different holidays if you celebrate those. Right now I'm recording this a couple days before New Year's, so this is going to be about New Year's resolutions. I love New Year's probably more than any other holiday ever. I absolutely love the idea of new beginnings, and even when I was bedridden and really depressed, I still looked forward to New Year's because it felt like a fresh start. It was like you don't have to be who you were yesterday at New Year's because it's a brand new year. That's actually true for any day of the year, but at New Year's it's like everybody expects to turn a new leaf, so it's just a really exciting time. The reason why I wanted to talk about it today is because New Year's resolutions have a very love-hate response from people. I think the reason is because we put so much pressure on ourselves to stick to something for an entire year. And usually, we burn out by February. There's a lot of gym memberships that get started at the new year. And then, by March, people are looking at how to get out of them or how to transfer it to somebody who will actually use it. And then there's also just the idea that you have failed if you do not complete something, or if you set out to complete something and you realize somewhere along the way that it's not actually what you wanted, or it's not in alignment with your lifestyle right now. And trust me, if there's anybody who gets that, it is me, because I am currently a mom of a 4-year-old and working full-time and trying to do this, and also writing on the side. Also, my boyfriend's kids come every other weekend, so I'm like, full-time with them too when they're here. So my life does not allow for very much space to do the things that I want to do, but I cram them in anyway. And so when New Year's comes around, I usually create this big impossible list of things that I want to do and things that I want to create, and I do maybe 30% of them, and that's being generous. All that to say, I say shoot for the stars, because if you fall short of that, you're still better off than you are right now. Any progress is a win, versus just saying, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on myself. That way, if I don't do anything all year, I haven't let anybody down, I haven't broken a promise to myself or anything like that. That's dumb. Because we're human, we're always changing our minds with stuff, we're always having our lives develop into something that we didn't realize was coming, and you have to adjust, you have to move into a new space. And I mean, COVID is like a perfect example, and as much as everybody is sick of hearing it, we had to pivot. Even without a pandemic, stuff like that happens all the time. Your work schedule changes, your medication changes, and so you have to readjust to something. There's a million things that can go down that make you have to move into a new part of your life that you weren't planning on when you made a resolution 3 months ago or whatever it was. So there was this TED Talk. I hope I can find it again. If I can, I'll put it in the notes. But she was talking about, you get a newsletter of what the person did that year. And this is kind of dated because people were doing this a lot in the 80s and 90s and then maybe early 2000s. But now with Facebook and everything, nobody really has to do a newsletter anymore because they can just follow you on Facebook and then see everything that you did that year. But take the idea of a newsletter. Instead of looking back at what you did that year, write the end of the year newsletter in January, so that you can refer back to it throughout the year and be like, am I working on this? If I wanted this done by, or is the progress that I'm making right now going to be compatible with that? So that's one thing you can do. I also have 4 prompts that you can fill in yourself. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to meditate every day, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, I'm going to never eat sugar. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But these are prompts that are kind of fun and might just add to your life. The first one is do something that you've always wanted to do. So this can be something that you've done in the past, but you've just always wanted to do it. And it might be something that you feel like you can't for one reason or another. I have a good example of this. I have always wanted to model. When I was in high school, people would ask me if I was a model because I was so tall, and I was waitressing at the time, and so it was a huge compliment. But I was in a very conservative culture, and modeling was not something that one did. So now I'm 32, not as thin as I was in high school by any means, and a mom. And so I started putting myself out there and trying to get modeling gigs, and I actually got a few of them, and I'm really excited about them. I have another photographer that wants to work with me again, which is like something that I've literally always wanted to do. It was just like modeling is for somebody else. Like, I'm too old, I weigh too much, I'm not the right fill in the blank for it. If everybody had turned me down, which, by the way, if you want to model, there are photographers out there who are looking for every diversity in the book. Like some of them legit turn me down because they're like, no, you're not diverse enough. So, I mean, even if you're like in a wheelchair or you have like a really weird feature that you're like insecure about or something like that, someone's gonna want to photograph it. There's that. But just something that you've always wanted to do, that like a dream that you've given up on, and try it this year. Another thing is something you've been meaning to do. For this, I had a book all written, sitting on my shelf for 5 years. And this past year, I gave it to an editor, and one thing led to another. I actually got it published, but that is something that I had been meaning to do. And you know, with you, it could be like actually looking at crypto and like getting into that, or maybe actually Googling Tai Chi because you heard that it's great and you can do it from a wheelchair, but you've been meaning to, you just never have. So that's another one. Number 3, something that feels impossible. So this I actually a few years back did this. I moved from Lafayette, Indiana to Charleston, South Carolina. One thing led to another and I was able to move, but at the time it felt absolutely impossible. For you, this could be starting your own YouTube channel. I have people reaching out to me often saying that they want to start their own YouTube channel and like, you know, how did I get the balls to like actually go for it and stuff. You just do it. It feels impossible, and it's going to feel impossible until you do it. And I mean, honestly, with me right now, even though I've been doing it for a couple years, it still feels impossible to me sometimes, and you just sit down and you do it and you see what happens and you go from there. Yeah, do something for you that feels impossible. You know, maybe it's horseback riding, or maybe it's, you know, jet skiing or something like that. Like something that have in your mind in like the impossible category. You just do it. You just figure out a way, or figure out how you can make accommodations for yourself to actually do that thing. I'm gonna stop rambling. You know what I'm talking about. Number 4, do something that you absolutely love. So probably my favorite thing in the world is to go to live concerts. I went to my very first live concert when I was 20, I think. It was Carolina Lyre. It was absolutely epic. I loved it. And it took me years to go to another one just because, you know, it wasn't something that I was used to doing. And this year, I want to go to as many as possible. Like, it is my absolute favorite thing to do. And I actually have that on my list of things that I want to do this year. All 4 of these things are not something you have to do every day, not even multiple times. You just have to do it once throughout the year. And it's also fun to think about like what things you can do that would fulfill that prompt. Like, what can I do that feels impossible to me? What is something that I've always wanted to do that I just haven't done yet? So I would really encourage you guys to do one or all of those. If you can think of something else that I didn't have on there that you would think would be a good idea, let me know in the comments, because then other people can read it and also get good ideas from that. I wish you guys the best 2023. I am so excited about it. I think it's going to be an amazing year. And I just hope you guys have the same hope that I do about everything that can unfold. So I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.